If you have booked a trip recently, you might have experienced this headache. The airline suddenly changing your flight time.
Yeah, so what can you do if this happens to you? As KSL consumer investigator Matt Gephardt explains, you do have rights and maybe even some opportunities.
Flight times change all the time as airlines tweak their schedules to try to get the most bang for their buck. It can certainly throw a wrench into your travel plans, but as the KSL investigators found, it can also maybe help you snag some better, cheaper flights. How? You Ask KSL Investigates.
Last summer, the pandemic left only 30 to 40% of flights operating as scheduled. Today, that number is closer to 95%, says travel expert Scott Keyes of Scott's Cheap Flights.
Sometimes a higher percentage of flights that are going to be changed in advance.
Now, by law, you are entitled to a full cash refund if a scheduled change is significant. So what counts as significant?
It varies somewhat airline to airline.
The KSL investigators looked through the terms and conditions of some major airlines, and here's what we found. In United's case, a change of 30 minutes is enough to be considered significant. For JetBlue and Alaska Airlines, it's 60 minutes. 90 minutes for Delta. And changes in your arrival or destination airport, or if your nonstop ticket suddenly grows a connecting flight, that qualifies as significant too. But you don't necessarily have to just take a refund from the airline.
So they're actually much more willing to work with you to switch flights to make sure to keep you as a customer.
Yeah, Kaya says if your flight gets changed, your first move might be to find a new flight with the same airline or a partner airline.
Ignore the fares, just purely look on the schedule.
Then call the airline up. Say, rather than get a refund, what about this new flight?
That gives you a lot of leverage to be able to now bargain for a better flight.
Kai says he has seen it work to get folks better departure times, leaving on better days, even getting a nonstop ticket instead of 2 or 3 connections. If the airline rep says no, Kai's advice is to hang up and call back. Airlines have hundreds of agents, each with discretion.
I would say the odds are very, very good that the next agent will grant that request.
Kai says that in his experience, airlines tend to bristle at the idea of having to give refunds out over schedule changes. So they're often willing to let people change their flights to a better flight completely for free, waiving any change fees. He says the trick is you gotta ask. Sometimes ask twice. At the airport, Matt Gephardt, KSL 5 News.